Hi, I'm Harrison, and this is your California primary election voting guide. To start out with the disclaimer, this video is not an unbiased source of information. For unbiased info, check out calmatters.com. Research candidates outside of this and always vote wisely. Starting out with the gubernatorial candidates, we have a couple strong candidates here: Javier Becerra, Tom Steyer, Ramsey Robinson, to name a few. And then the weaker candidates: Steve Hilton, Chad Bianco, Katie Porter, and Matt Mahan. You can see on the bottom left is the current polling as of May 9th. And we'll start out with my personal pick of a candidate, Javier Becerra. He's highly experienced as a former Attorney General, a former Secretary of Health and Human Services, and he has a strong economic policy under the Affordable Care Act. The bad of his campaign is that he's taken the maximum campaign donation from Chevron of $32,000. He's also less progressive than other candidates and pro-Israel, which is a turnoff for many progressive voters. But as he is polling currently the highest, he is my personal favorite candidate just from polling to policy ratios. Next, Tom Steyer, also running as a Democrat, is the good of his campaign is that he's a climate change activist, having founded Next Gen America, a climate activism foundation and philanthropy charity. He also has a strong tax code, closing tax loopholes and increasing taxes on the billionaires. On top of that, he also has a progressive education policy. He wants to fight for free education through preschool all the way to college, including community colleges, all funded by the state of California. The bad of his campaign is that he is a billionaire. He's accumulated over $2.4 billion from his self-funded Farallon hedge fund. He also has very little experience in politics. Outside of little activism, he's never held legislative office. Why he's not my pick is because his lack of true political experience and non-rigid policy stands to destroy his trustworthiness. As he is also a billionaire running on progressive ideals, it's hard to believe he'll stick to his promises. Moving on, we have Steve Hilton, running as a Republican. The good of his campaign is the aggressive affordability plan. He wants to remove income tax for the first $100,000 made by Californians. He also stands to be a more business-focused candidate, with his economic plan focusing on fostering business. The bad is that his affordability plan has some holes in it. Economists have warned against his tax plan, saying that it will bring in less money to the state and won't allow us to fund public utilities. He also has a strong association with MAGA and has been backed by Trump specifically. His homeless policy has been described as cruel for wanting to arrest people living in homeless encampments and effectively put the homeless people in our prisons. Environmental concerns also spring up from his campaign because he wants to increase oil drilling and relax the climate policy, much like his Trump-backed ideals. Why he's not my pick. A non-feasible economic policy, poor climate plan, and far-right ties make Steve Hilton poised to be kind of a mini-Trump. Ramsey Robinson, running as a peace and freedom candidate for governor. The good of his campaign is he's a grassroots, working-class candidate, and he's very focused on public goods, saying that he'll supply $30 an hour state-supplied jobs, universal single-payer health care, free public transport, etc. And the bad is he is not polling at even 1% in the polls and is excluded from most. He has no legislative experience and has never held public office, and his far-left stance makes him a controversial vote. Why he's not my pick. While he has gained popularity on the far-left TikTok scene, as a highly inexperienced candidate with almost no recognition, a vote for him is effectively thrown away. So although I like him, a lot of his claims tend to be weak, and it's hard to say that a vote for him would be doing more than a vote for anyone else. Now for the LA mayoral candidates, for those who can vote here. The strong candidates are Nithya Raman and Ray Huang, and the weak candidates are Adam Miller, Spencer Pratt, and Karen Bass. I would like to preface to do some more research into Ray Huang. I'm not the most educated on her, but I've heard she's another good candidate, and I like some of her policy. Starting out, we have Nithya Raman, running as a Democrat. She's very experienced in LA politics, being a former city council member, a Harvard graduate, and she founded the Sela Neighborhood Homeless Coalition. She also has strong public utilities policy, focusing on homeless shelters, public transport, and construction deadlines for building projects. The bad is, her friction with the business community has caused many large businesses to claim her policy will harm the domestic economy and will be bad for fostering local business. Also running for mayor, Karen Bass is a Democrat. She's experienced as she's the current mayor of LA. She's been an assembly speaker and a U.S. representative. She also has a highly effective homelessness policy that's gotten many citizens off the streets into more permanent housing. The bad is, her disaster response has been criticized by many, as she signed off budget cuts to the LA Fire Department during the Palisades fire. She also has been accused of having a poor handling of crime and safety. These are the additional candidates I recommend for those who can vote for them. Laura Friedman for CA 30, that includes Burbank and Pasadena, is the incumbent House representative and probably the most experienced. Saikat Chakrabarti for CA 11 in Sacramento, Shirley Weber for Secretary of State, Malia M. Cohen for State Controller, Eleni Kaunalakis for Treasurer, Rob Bonto for Attorney General, and Ben Allen for the Insurance Commissioner. Thanks for watching. Remember to vote wisely and research on your own. Hopefully this was a good guide for basic overview of candidates and where you might want to place your research or even your votes. Thanks for watching. Bye.